I remember talking to this one guy once, and he was like, oh, sorry, your boobs distracted me. I couldn't hear anything you said. And I said, oh, I'm sorry.
Apologize.
I apologized. Okay.
Welcome to the Fuck the Stigma podcast. Today I have Maddie here.
Hi.
You ready to talk about Fuck the Stigma?
I am ready to talk about Fuck the Stigma.
All right. What does Fuck the Stigma mean to you?
Fuck the Stigma to me is about having a platform to speak about judgment, like on mental illness and judgment on homelessness and self-harm, many other topics. I have a lot to talk about.
You have a lot to share.
Yes.
How have you personally experienced the stigma?
I've experienced stigma in my family life, through the church. I was Christian growing up, and honestly, like in psych wards, I feel like there was stigma, like as an adolescent. And like towards myself, like I feel like I've adopted some ideas growing up and beliefs that I've learned and kind of turned them inward.
Yeah, internalizing them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a big part of it is like limiting beliefs.
Yeah. Have you read The 4 Agreements?
Yeah.
That book explains it. Like somebody could tell you something as a child, and in the book it says if you both agree on it, it's like a curse. Like words have power.
Yeah. It's a good book. Good read. I kind of want to... What's up with the church stigma?
The church stigma. I was actually talking to somebody today about this. They were talking about how when they were in active addiction, they wouldn't go to church because they didn't feel like accepted. And I was like, that's weird, isn't it? Because that's where you're supposed to go when you need help, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, felt judged. I felt I wouldn't have gone to church high. Like that just seems wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But I was talking to the guy and I was like, Jesus loved people like us.
You think why?
Because, I mean, I learned this at church, which is kind of funny. There's a story in the Bible about a prostitute named Mary, and she was being stoned for being a prostitute. Like people were throwing rocks at her, and Jesus came and he tried to stop them, and she like looked up at him and was like, asked him for help, and he stopped. Like he just liked the outcasts. He stopped the rocks being thrown, but he liked the outcasts of society, you know, like those were his people.
Yeah, because if you think about it, wouldn't church be about helping those who are struggling, selflessness?
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, but then I feel like people make it into this, you have to be this perfect image of like whatever they think it is.
Yeah, and what I was taught growing up was certain things were sin, like sex before marriage was a sin, doing drugs, worshiping any other god besides the Christian version of God was a sin. And then I was raped at 14, so I didn't get a choice, you know, and they don't talk about that in church. So I didn't know how to manage my perception of God or like myself, because at that point, you know, I was damned. I was 14, you know, all I had was my parents' perception of God. And that God said no sex before marriage. So that really impacted me and kind of like sent me into my addiction and my struggle with mental health and self-harm.
So you not feeling like you were damned or doomed, that allowed you to kind of, do you think you just didn't speak up because you knew how other people would view like having sex before marriage, even though for you it happened under shitty circumstances?
What do you mean didn't speak? I spoke up about, are you talking about the rape?
Yeah.
I reported it.
You did?
Yeah, I did. And I was told I was a liar and that it didn't matter because I was on drugs. And I was friends with this guy for a while before it happened. So nobody really believed me. I went and got a rape kit done, and I lived in a small town, so everybody knew. And yeah, it was weird. I think there's a stigma around speaking up against sexual assault.
Definitely. so many women nowadays do not speak up. I think, I don't know the exact percentage, but I've heard that like there's so many more like unreported rapes than there are reported, because like women are scared. They're scared of like how they're going to be viewed, or scared of the words, the discrimination, the words like, oh, you shouldn't have been wearing that, or oh, you shouldn't have been doing drugs, even though there's those who struggle with addiction. Either way, if you're on drugs, it's no justification. There's no justification for it. It's
that is like the ultimate betrayal.
It is.
I mean, it's your body. But I remember what I was wearing that day, and that was so long ago. I'm 23 now. I was wearing a sweatshirt that said lifeguard and pink sweatpants, and I gave them to the police, and they never gave them back to me. They took my sheets. Like, the whole experience was extremely traumatic, you know? And at the end of the day, nothing happened. So, like, what was even the point of speaking up besides, like, I got all these negative reactions from people. And really, I ruined his life, according to the people around us. So, I mean, I'm glad I did.
You're glad you did?
I'm glad I did. Because, I mean, why shouldn't you speak up?
Yeah.
That wasn't right.
The really fucked up part is that you spoke up about something traumatic happening to you, and it just kind of went unheard. Yeah. Like, that happens way too often.
But, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it now. The only thing I can do now is speak about it now. Because I know there's other people who have the same experiences like we just talked about. There's so many people who don't even report it, or who have reported it and feel like they're not heard. Well, I fucking hear you. Like, almost every woman I speak to has been sexually assaulted.
Yeah, and it's just unspoken.
Yeah.
Like, this is where we can speak about it.
Yeah.
I also wanted to hear about, you mentioned like psych wards.
Yeah, so after I was raped, actually before that, I started self-harming. I was really depressed, and I kind of hid the self-harm, but after the rape, I kind of just spiraled. I lost my shit. And I was hospitalized for the first time in 2014. And I remember the whole experience, like going into a psych ward and like having to tell people why you're there, having cuts on your arms and sitting in a room full of strangers, I mean, is traumatic in itself. And then I had one nurse tell me, why do you keep putting yourself in these situations? Like it was... Like, obviously, I play a part in everything, right? But I was a kid, and I was not treated like...
What is this? Consent age? Isn't there an age for consent?
I mean, you can have sex, I think, as a minor with another minor. But if somebody's older than you, then it's statutory rape. The age for consent as an adult is 18, I think.
That's so true. I was thinking about the older.
Because, I mean, it's your body. If you want to have sex when you're young, you can have sex when you're young. But the thing is, if the person's older than you, then it's kind of weird. There's a line there.
Yeah, there's a consent age.
Like, I'm 23. I wouldn't go after somebody who's 17, you know? I was 14. That man was 17. Mm-hmm. It's not much of an age gap, but it's still like, you're 17.
Yeah.
So... psych wards though. Yeah, my experience there was just that I just felt like I didn't get to see a doctor. I got to see a doctor like once the whole time I was there, and I've been multiple times, and I've never felt like I got treatment. I just felt like I was being babysat, and that I couldn't be honest about like what happened or how I was feeling, because I was like I was trapped. Like, they didn't let you go outside. You're in a building with a bunch of other kids. And
the purpose of psych wards is for like
treatment,
getting better, trying to get you into a good state of mind. Like, what's the issue here? Let's get to the core root and problem. But it's nothing like that. I've only ever heard not good experiences.
Yeah, and then you get put on meds. after they like talk to you. You see the doctor one time, they put you on some meds. I had one nurse tell me to get off the meds when I got out. I was playing cards with him, and he was like, whatever you're on here, get off of it as soon as you get out.
What?
I was like, what? So you're telling me
A worker.
you're
a
telling me
nurse.
not to take what I'm being prescribed here that's supposed to be helping me. And another thing is like they don't give you the medical information of like what you're taking. They won't even tell you, what the pill is that you're taking unless you ask.
Interesting.
In my experience.
I don't know. I'm usually not the one to ask questions of medication because it's something that never crosses my mind to do. It's just, I don't have much experience in like psych wards, even getting prescribed medication until I came out for treatment and rehab. But that was because I was detoxing is why I needed to take meds.
Yeah.
Dealing with a lot of the anxiety and the withdrawals. But you learn to over time to take to ask about the medication.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I've always been kind of rebellious against authority and people older than me, just because I didn't really feel like I had a good example. Like, as my parents were telling me not to drink, they were drinking. So I always questioned authority. Like, why? Mm-hmm. Why do I have to do this? Why? So that kind of just carried into like institutions. Like, why would I just take something that you're telling me to take?
Interesting. What else do you know about, what else would you have to say about medication?
Medication. I think that the whole process of diagnosing and prescribing medication is confusing to me because if you're prescribing a medication for a chemical imbalance based off of words that I'm telling you, I don't really think that makes sense. Like, how do you know that this type of pill, like, let's say you're prescribing me Lexapro because I sound depressed. And then I take the Lexapro and I tell you, this is making me want to kill myself more than I did. Mm-hmm. So now you're going to prescribe me, let's say, like Vyvanse to increase my dopamine in my head and help me focus. But now I can't sleep. So now you're going to prescribe me Seroquel, which is an antipsychotic, to sleep. And now I'm on all these pills and I don't even feel like a real person anymore.
Yeah, they're numbing you down. Like, you don't even feel like yourself. It's almost like you're losing yourself through all these medications.
Yeah. And all I wanted was to not feel so sad. And you didn't even ask me why I feel sad in the first place.
What the fuck?
What's the root issue, you know? Like, sometimes it is a chemical imbalance. But sometimes it's just trauma and it needs to be worked through and talked about. And there's so many, like, holistic options and talk therapy, EMDR, you know, there's so many different kinds of therapy.
Yeah, there's so many options, and we still, most of America sticks with like, let's keep throwing another med in your body. Let's keep giving you meds.
Yeah.
And they're prescribing you one and then prescribing you another one to cancel out the side effects.
Yeah. Of
the first one they gave you.
And
it's just a constant cycle.
Yeah. It's money at the end of the day. Because why would we want you to be better when we can make money off of your sickness?
Yeah.
That's really freaking sad. And psych wards, like, I've seen little kids in psych wards who are left there because their parents can't handle their children. And I've seen kids have normal, like, you know, kind of tantrums, which are normal for, like, toddlers. Mm-hmm. And they would get sedated. They would get shots.
For throwing tantrums?
Yeah.
What?
They would be sedated. It's really sad. Like, I just realized it. Like, I listed off all these different treatment options, right? Not once were these ever provided to me as an adolescent in psych wards. I learned about these through higher levels of care, like rehab, mental health rehab, which you need to have insurance to get into. So most of these kids and or adults who are in psych wards probably don't have insurance, so they can't receive proper treatment, like the things I just listed, and DBT, therapy, CBT therapy. There's multiple other types of like coping skills that I've learned through the privilege of going to treatment.
Yeah. I definitely feel like it's really fucked up that with kids who struggling with depression, anxiety, first off, it's because of our environment nowadays. Mm-hmm. It's just like Instagram and all these other things like are pushing out this perfection thing. Like I have to look like Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, and they're getting depressed and like trying to fit that mold. That's almost impossible. Mm-hmm. Like you can't, it's not possible. And so say they're struggling with, anxiety and depression because of those types of things.
Yeah.
And their parents admit them because they're underage. They don't have the exact choice yet. And to cope with that, the doctors give them medication. That's their first result. You need to get put on this med. Mm-hmm. And that later on leads to this chemical dependency on medication. And later on, addiction. Yeah. Depending on it. And like, this is the only thing that can make me feel good or whatever it is. It's just, that's where a lot of it starts, is doctors prescribing meds. Mm-hmm. I've heard so many stories of people, how their addiction started. It's like, oh, I got prescribed oxycodone or whatever.
Yeah. Because of an injury, but also like through mental issues as well. Mm-hmm. But the perfectionism on social media, I think that's another reason why I like this platform, Fuck the Stigma, so much, because it's like an opportunity to embrace the imperfections that we all have, instead of trying to like put on this like show on Instagram, like look at my perfect little life. No, like life is very messy, and
very messy.
I think that's why I'm so excited about this.
Awesome. I'm excited about it too, because I really want people to start embracing it. Like, we're not perfect, and we need to stop believing that we all are.
You know what? I don't even think any of us believe we are. I think we just believe that you, like, I believe that you think you're perfect, so now I have to be too. And that's not even, it's just all this delusion, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody just starts being like a freaking human being again. Why are we all acting like
something we're not?
Why are we doing that?
That is a very good question.
Why are we doing that? We were taught to.
By who?
The schools. I feel like,
oh, you didn't get an A on your test?
Oh, you're gonna fail at life. Your life's over.
You're fucked. You're not gonna make it. That's not
true. There's so many different kinds of intelligence, you know?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of us don't learn about emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Some of us don't even know how to communicate anymore. Like, yeah.
I feel that way.
Dude, I still struggle with it. Like,
sometimes I'm talking to people and I get really anxious because I'm thinking about like how they're perceiving me.
Yeah.
What? I'm really anxious all the time. It's really debilitating sometimes.
Yeah.
But I have to remind myself that I don't think anybody knows what's going on or what they're doing really, like if they really think about it. Like, what am I doing?
We're all clueless.
We're all clueless. It doesn't matter. It's life. I don't think it's not that serious.
It's not. We make it serious.
Yeah.
I do it every day on a daily basis. I overthink everything. I stress over the simplest of things.
Yeah.
When it's just so simple. Now, what do you think about like generational stigma? Like family passing stigma down?
I think that's a real thing. Personally, my family has a lot of addiction and alcoholism. That's obvious. The mental illness part, I don't know. I can only speak for myself on that aspect. I really don't know what's going on with me. Doctors don't, they're confused. I met so many, I don't know what's going on either. Let's just say I'm not typical. Anyway. I don't know what my diagnoses are because I've been to so many doctors and I've been told so many different things. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't care anymore. Don't need to know.
But there's also a thing about the labels.
The labels, it's for insurance. It's for insurance purposes. So you can get pills and get money. Big pharma.
Free pills.
But stigma from family. That's what I was talking about. Sorry, a little rabbit hole there. My family has a lot of addiction and alcoholism. My grandma died from alcoholism. My aunt was an addict. My sisters are addicts. I'm an addict. And
there's a lot of addiction in your family.
Yes, a lot. And I don't know how far back that goes. I really don't know that much about my family.
Me neither.
Which is weird. I should look into that. But my mom is a very, to me, she seemed like an image-based person. So the stigma around that is like, you're a woman, you need to get married and have kids and, you know, be beautiful. Mm-hmm. Image was very, be skinny. I grew up
the same way with my mom, yeah.
Yeah. Like I would cry and she'd say, go put your face on. You know, like, or I remember going out to eat with my mom and my sister liked to dye her hair like blue and not wear makeup and wear no bra. And my mom would be like seemingly embarrassed, you know, to be seen with her.
That's crazy.
And I still feel that. I still have that with me, you know, that like idea that I need to be beautiful and skinny and look a certain way. And I need to get married because I need a man to take care of me. I am incapable of taking care of myself.
Are you trying to break those beliefs?
I am. I think just the awareness of them right now is a step in the right direction, definitely. You know? And like actions speak louder than words. So, I mean, I shaved my eyebrows off. I feel like that was a little like rebellious teenage moment.
Yeah.
You know? I don't want to be like conventionally beautiful anymore.
Like I know what you mean. Like the idea of beauty on platforms and social media. You want to like kind of step outside the box and be like, hey, I'm still beautiful even though I look
a little different right now. Yeah. But like, no, part of the reason behind the shaving of the eyebrows was because although I cover them up, I am not like fully confident with them. But my whole reasoning behind it was that I wanted people to like me for me and not because of the way I looked.
Yeah. Have you experienced people
only liking me because of the way I look?
Yeah. Have you seen it like...
Yeah, I feel like I've been sexualized most of my life. I have used sex and love. Like, I feel like if I feel like somebody wants to have sex with me, I'll have sex with them just to get it out of the way.
Oh, me too. I do that too.
So that maybe after, you know, we'll get that out of the way so you can actually like talk to me as a real person. I'm not like, I always just felt objectified and was like, okay, fine. Like, let's get that out of the way so I can actually have a conversation with you. Which is totally messed up. Like, I remember talking to this one guy once and he was like, oh, sorry, your boobs distracted me. I couldn't hear anything you said. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I apologized. That's not right. I shouldn't apologize for having freaking tits, you know?
Having your boobs.
And like... That's weird.
Free the nipple.
Free the nip.
Free the nipple.
But my dad. So from my dad, I learned that like, and these are unspoken rules. These are not, I don't think these were things that were actually like outspoken. Like this is directly, I'm teaching you this, you know?
A lot of the things that we learn are unspoken and we kind of just pick up on it.
Like subliminal messages, you know? So my dad was a very hard worker. He was on Oxycontin when I was growing up because he got hurt at work. Like you were talking about, doctors prescribe and then it becomes addiction. And it was a very confusing time because when you're young, you don't understand what's going on most of the time. And he was like in bed a lot, kind of absent, like physically there, but not there.
Not there mentally, emotionally?
Yeah, not there. And I just remember not wanting to be around him. And as I got older and I started doing drugs, he like would make me feel like I was like, he would tell me, why do you love heroin more than your family? Like, why are you like this? If I walk down the street and I ask our neighbors if their kids are like this, what do you think they'll say? You know, like, why can't you basically just be normal?
Yeah. What even is normal?
I don't freaking know. That's what I think I would say.
It's this weird idea that we have in our heads.
I think he just wanted me to be healthy. Now that I'm older and I kind of take myself out of the situation, like, I can see the desperation of a father, like, wanting to, like, his daughter to be well. But at the time, it came off of, like, as, like, unaccepting.
Yeah.
You know? And it still comes off that way sometimes. I don't feel accepted by my dad. I don't feel accepted as who I am by my family. Like, I'm afraid for my family to see this.
Really?
Yeah, as I'm talking about it, I'm like, I don't want them to watch this because I don't.
What if they do?
I mean, they're gonna. Hey, hi, Mom and Dad.
Do you think this is you? This is you putting it out there and breaking the stigma.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked like this all my life. I've always been like a very like outspoken person and not afraid to be who I am. But like when your parents don't accept you and you're struggling, that breaks you down as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, your
parents are who you want to be accepted by and get validation from. It's just nature.
Yeah. But at the same time, I would fight back. I always fought back. Always. And I would tell my dad, like, why is the world the way it is? I was always angry about, like, the way the world was and, like, how I felt like I had to hide certain parts of myself or my art was too dark, you know? Don't speak about going to psych ward. Don't speak about going to rehab. Don't show your self-harm scars, you know? Even tattoos aren't acceptable. These are a phase, according to my family. Like I've had these for years now, you know, and it's a phase.
Is being gay a phase?
I'm confused about my sexuality, honestly. I remember fighting with my mom and my dad about being pansexual.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you identify as?
I do, yeah. I went out with this one girl in high school and we were drinking and my mom found us and I was like, her dad came and it was this whole thing and her dad was trying to tell me that guys only like me for my body and not my mind. And I looked at him and I was like, I love your daughter. You know, like, I don't even like guys. I love your daughter. And my mom was like, oh, like, it's time to go. No. Oh. We're not going to talk about that. And my dad...
Was it never spoken of again?
No, never spoken of. And my dad thinks that being gay is a sin, which is like, I was like, Dad, you know, I'm a little gay. It's like, yeah, well, you're going to hell.
Yeah. When I told my family I was gay, never spoken of again. I don't think we've spoken about it to this day. And it's been about 3-ish years, maybe 3, 4. How old am I? How long have
now you're 19.
5 years? 4 years. 4 to 3 years.
That's crazy. How do you feel about that?
Part of me is like, it's okay. We don't really need to speak about it. Mm-hmm. Other parts like, I wish I could talk to my family about, like, say somebody I'm dating. It was something I always kept a secret.
You don't feel like you can do that today?
No. No, not yet. I'm not at that point yet. It's just like, back then I would have just like my girlfriend come over or whatever. And it's just like, oh yeah, this is my really good friend. She's sleeping over. We're hanging out all the time. And they're like, okay, cool. I'm sure they might have had an idea, but we never spoke about it. I feel like not speaking about things like that is just like lack of acceptance.
Yeah, I mean,
of what is the truth.
Yeah. It's denial, but it's also like ignorance is bliss. Right?
Do you think ignorance is bliss?
I do think ignorance is bliss.
Really? I've usually disagreed with that. I feel like I want to know everything. I just have to accept like what's said or...
Well, my thing on the ignorance is bliss is that like part of me wishes that I never did heroin or any drug, because now that I know that I can reach that level of like euphoria or like that type of feeling, I'll never forget it, you know? Like in sobriety, like you get moments of like bliss, but it'll never be like heroin. It'll never be that. I'll never get that high sober. So now that
I think so?
No, that's an unnatural thing. That level of peace, you know?
But you don't think you can find that peace sober?
Not as instantly as I got it with heroin.
There's no more instant gratification anymore.
Right. I mean, it has to be like a build up, and that's something that I need to learn.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I need to put work in to reach that level of like, oh, I did something, but it's a totally different thing.
Yeah. And before we would just go to a house and then we get it.
Right. But it's different. I'm sure I'll experience something completely new. Something like heroin, but not even comparable. Because why would I don't even want to compare anything to that. Like, it was really good. It was good in the moment. But I'm sure, like, working towards something and building something for myself, I'll find a new feeling there that I'll actually appreciate and not destroy my life with.
There you go.
So, like, at the end of the day, I just hope by speaking about my experiences, it encourages other people to speak about their experiences. And I'm just really grateful that I have an opportunity to speak about this, because I feel like I've been waiting like all my life, really, like to have this level of acceptance. And I just hope this reaches other people who need it too.
Fuck yeah. I'm so grateful for you coming on here and talking about everything we talked about. It was really nice having you.
Thank you, Laisha.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think we're done.
Thank you for joining us on the Fuck the Stigma podcast.
Free the nip.
What?
Free the nip.
Free the nip.
Okay, that's all. Bye.
Free the nip. Free the nip. Free the nip.
Free the nip. Free the nip.
Free the nip. Free the nipple. Free the nipple 2022.
Also, I'm a Gemini.
That makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
No, but yeah, really. Thank you. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, everyone watching. Stand up against the stigma.